I'm gonna start the meeting. This is the Ad-Hoc Curbside Trash Committee meeting on Thursday, December 8th, 2022. Calling this meeting to order at 4 p.m. We're gonna do the roll call first. This is out of order. Councilor Marquetti is here. Councilor Steves.
Here.
Health Director Daniel Lesuk. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Did very
All
well.
right. Daniel Grabowski.
Yeah.
Board of Health member, and Kevin Buxton is absent. Steve Gregoire.
Yep.
Mark Natali.
Here.
Kathy Grenier.
Here.
All right. Then we'll do consider and approve curbside trash committee minutes of November 17th. Did everybody get a chance to look at them? Any changes?
Other than Irene's last name, right?
Oh, it is? I'm sorry.
Congdon.
Okay. C-O-N,
G.
First person.
Irene.
all right.
And Congdon, Congdon.
No E?
No E.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. I'll fix it before I upload it. All right, so everything else okay? All those in favor? Thank you. There was a request by the assessor, and I accidentally put treasurer down, so we'll just make a friendly amendment to address the
Cause
committee.
confusion in the building there. Yeah,
To address the
on the
committee.
agenda.
So Rachel, the floor is yours.
Okay, so, I just wanted to address you guys because I have not been invited or just talked to about anything, and we do the water sewer billing in the assessing office. And I need you to fully understand that we cannot take on trash in that office. So if you are looking to try to incorporate billing for trash with the utility billing, you need to come up with a plan. We do not, we just can't, there's no way. My staff is maxed. So I just wanted to.
Do you
come to
need
guys.
another person? Is that
It's a full-time, assessing is a full-time job.
mm-hmm.
Water sewer billing is a full-time job.
Yep.
They really need to be separated, honestly.
Mhm.
It should not, they shouldn't even be together to begin with.
We probably should have a building department.
We should have a billing department.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, Francine would be a fantastic person to run that office. She is the most thorough, on top of her stuff person. I'm the hardest working lady I've ever met. But that's something, I just, if that's really truly where you want to go, I don't know, because I haven't been coming to these meetings, so I wanted to address this before it got to the point where you all went, here, and I'm like, ah. So, that needs to be thought about.
Joe, thank you.
Okay.
Because we were made aware, Anna told me that it was impossible to put an insert in the bills because they're sealed anyhow. Is that correct?
I cannot, so if I were to attach it to the tax billing, it's slightly different.
No, it can't be in the tax bill.
Okay, so if it
By law.
can't be, then
Right.
that's
It was
off
the
the table.
sewer,
And I
it
was just saying, I could only do it twice a year on the
Yeah.
actuals anyways, so that doesn't seem to me like a very good way to bill citizens,
Sure.
twice a year.
Well,
for
I would say, Rachel, this is something the town manager's gonna have to take care
I
of.
talked to him and he's the one who told me to come here.
He's the one that's gonna have to deal with it.
So,
And we can make our
So I
recommendation. but
just
he'll have
wanted to
deal with it.
really bring that to light because we just can't. I'm supposed to be out in the field. I haven't done field work this year. Well, number one, I'm new, so it has been, my adjustment period. But, it's really difficult for me to be out in the field. Jasmine's out in the field, and we've got Francine who's trying to do water and sewer and handle the walk-ins, and it's challenging to say the least. And it gets very stressful at times, and unfortunately that can come across to the residents, which I don't like at all, so. So I
So
just
is
wanted-
anything, can people do billing online? Can they do that? I don't know if it's available here in the town.
We don't take the payments, we just do the billing and managing, so we do the final water and sewer reads, we do the work order billing, so if new meters are put in or whatever, the quarterly billing, the maintenance of the database,
So
people
who collects
sell-
the money?
The collectors.
The collector, but can it be done online? Do people pay online?
Yeah, we have online
Yeah.
payments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't have just You can't bill online.
But you can't.
Too many
right.
people do not have computers, especially us seniors.
My neighbors don't have computers.
No.
Yeah.
They're in
You
80,
can't do it.
88, 76,
Yeah,
77.
you can't do
They
it.
don't even know what a computer looks like.
No.
You're right.
They have
No
flip
idea.
phones still, if they
Yeah.
have
If they have
those.
phones.
I still have a landline.
But I was thinking, you know, like, we have the billing for the airport, I'm not sure what it is exactly, but we bill, but there's billing that like all that stuff, it would make sense to have
For their
one
rent or whatever?
department,
That would make
The
sense.
only place they can go to the airport is
a billing
Westminster.
department,
Hold on, one at
Yeah.
a time. Go ahead.
yeah.
So it's something that the town manager's
So
gonna
this is something, I
take
just
care
wanted
of.
to bring to light because
Yep.
nobody had come to me about this and I kept hearing things and I'm like, okay, I need to speak to you guys.
That's
This is a
important to
big,
know.
it's important to
Absolutely,
know.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, so. And do you remember, I used to work in Warren
Yeah.
in the Board of Health.
Yeah. That's me.
Yeah,
I'm Irene.
yep,
Been here a long time.
yeah.
But it's just being brought up of how to pay for this bill, and some of them it goes water and sewer, and some other towns just have it done under a billing department,
Exactly.
not the assessor's
the
office, not a
assessors.
thing. It's another billing department that is just a standalone. It's normally
Yeah.
a completely enterprise fund, and there's 2 to 3 depending on the size, and then they put water, sewer, and then trash, and sometimes it is either monthly or 4 times a year or
We
twice
do
a year, or
quarterly
they
currently.
alternate it. But then it's a department that's not doing other stuff and not interacting with the public.
Yeah.
So that's a
And field
separate,
work, and
different thing.
it's a challenge as it is right now, never mind trying to add another element in.
Do you already have a software? Like if it was moved to a
Units.
different department?
Yep, I'm sure that there's, what do they call it? A license, I guess, for her UC, but that I'm sure could be put anywhere.
Right. So really, the big thing with your department is that you're already stressed as it is at the assessor's office trying to just do assessor's work, let alone billing
Billing.
for water and sewer to add on that. But the software package that's doing the water and sewer could is doing it in other places, taking on trash. It could. It just should go to a different department that has more staff.
More staff dedicated to that.
That's
Just
not
a
dealing with the public.
Case in point, yesterday, was it yesterday? I don't know, I'm losing track of the whole week. One of these days this week, Francine called out sick. We had 5 finals to do. They have to be done. There's closings depending on those finals.
Yeah.
And so we spent half the day doing finals. We missed inspections. We can't be missing inspections. We're assessors. I need to be on the field.
Yeah.
And if you add trash to that, there's no way. They can't.
Well, we're gonna have to discuss with the town manager adding somebody to the department, I guess. Or it's up to the town
Moving.
manager.
Right.
Yep.
I think it really, you need
It's
to create a billing department.
Or a billing department.
Yeah.
Anybody else wanna say anything? Questions?
What's your name
Go
again?
ahead.
Rachel,
Rachel?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
thank you. All
Anybody
right,
else?
so that was all I had. Any questions?
Go ahead, Mr. Lipton.
I don't think that it should in any way skew us from, I mean, I understand, I get her point, we all have jobs and, whether you can do it, can't do it, so I understand that, not want to take on something that you can't possibly do. I get that, but as far as we go, I don't feel like it should force us into,
Taking that off
One
the option.
item.
Yeah.
Oh, no, totally.
No, but just like,
because just
compensate for the
just
fact that you're making more staffing.
for an example,
He's got the floor. let him
For
talk.
an example, if we are in fear of that and move into the tax-based thing, then we're talking splitting it evenly, everybody gets it evenly through the taxes, which would be no different than Councilor Steve's point at the council meeting that 5 people sold their house down the street. Well, he didn't sell his, but his value went up because they sold his house. So now he got the brunt of it.
Right.
So now we shouldn't be in fear. We should make our decision should not be made based on any of that. It should be on the best thing to do and then put it forward. And then it would be up to the town manager to figure out how to make it happen if that's what's agreed on.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go with Mr. Gregoire
But,
first,
I mean,
and then I'll come to you.
Just to build on that, and working with Rachel's department like I do, I know how stressed they are for resources. And seeing as how we're looking to add a new $2 million enterprise account to the town, I think even though it will be the town manager's responsibility to deal with, we need to be cognizant that, this may involve some staffing. Because we can't, I mean, I know their department's overwhelmed. They went from assessing to water and sewer 20 years ago, and that pretty much has them at the brink of their capacity.
Oh, yeah.
So it won't affect our mission, like Mark said, but it's something we'll need to get worked out by the end of this venture here.
All right, very
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely.
You all set?
Yes.
Mr. Steve?
And to follow up on that, would it be legal for us to tie the cost of a billing department into how we fund this?
No, that's perfectly fine. An enterprise fund is in itself the accounting mechanism that the entire program is funded in that box.
Could we use it for for other billing purposes in town as well?
So you could have the water and sewer, it could be also enterprise fund and add in. So whatever the time allotted or
Okay.
software needed, you can definitely put into that account. Or, I mean, it's nice to have an enterprise fund because then you can see the ins and outs, you can see the costs, and you can see the revenue. And whoever, so if the Board of Health did 20 hours worth of work, that's included. If the town administrator did 5 hours worth of work, that's included. If the assessors did 2 hours worth of it, so everybody's time would be in there,
Okay.
and you can bill it accordingly.
Water and sewer works that way now.
Yeah, I figured when she was describing it, I was thinking that.
Yep.
And I don't know if because you are a council type of government, can you just make an enterprise fund at any time? I mean, at town meetings, we have to have annual town meeting. It's only once a year a town can establish an enterprise fund.
We probably could,
I believe we can, because
Yeah.
we take the place of
of
the
town meeting, yeah.
town meeting.
I mean, I think we would probably have to amend the bylaws to do it and go through the bylaw reading process formally, with all the advertising and all that stuff that requires, but we could do that.
Yep. All right. Anything else? You're all set?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
for
welcome.
having me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. I did talk to agenda item number 5. I did speak to Maddie. She cannot be here tonight, but she did let me know that Anna is working with her, and she also said that this has to be decided by December 26th, this mailer. So I think we're gonna have to decide it tonight.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's fine.
I think we can do it.
Okay, agenda item number 6, review, discuss the language in the survey and potential vote to finalize and mail. Now, you all got the one that Anna worked on, correct?
You have that, I got extra copies.
Yeah, I have one.
I don't have it. I mean, I have.
This was the original one that we put together.
We can pass it around if everybody
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't bring a copy of that one with me.
Sure.
was,
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with this one, if this is what the committee prefers.
well, I think you made it shorter
I
and
made it
sweeter,
shorter,
so I
that's
think
all.
that's,
All I did, and I also even sharpened it down even more because there was a few suggestions that I had. First of all, let's talk trash. I'm not crazy about that for
Okay. And again, just
That's an old-
ideas.
that's an old one.
Can the old one, do you want me to pass this one?
so I think,
Why don't I just give you an idea,
That was
of what she
Pelletier, I
developed?
think, that came up with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk trash. That sounds like a sports thing.
Sports day. We were,
No, this side.
yeah.
you got that?
I'm looking at that, the other one, that the one on the left hand, that, right, I can use that. Oh, no, I have it. This is your version, right?
This is
Yeah.
my version, and there was an amended one.
And this is.
All right, also did.
I cut it down there, and then I cut it down once more. And
Yeah.
I got rid of a lot of the verbiage about the ad hoc committee and things like that. I don't think the residents are concerned about the fact that we formed a committee.
Well, I think they need to know who's doing this. And it's probably better to make it clear that it's something distinct from the council.
All
Of
right.
course, they will come after the council anyway, but.
So that was my first suggestion, that we just make it something like curbside collection 2024 rather than let's talk trash. It's just a suggestion. I also thought we needed to identify the options by name.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
in my opinion, it's property tax, flat fee, or user fee. Now, we could take out some of the things I added, like, in this option, residents and businesses support this. We could take out some of that. But I just think it definitely needs to be identified as 3 different options.
Well, I think the problem is we may also end up wanting to do some combination of.
And it's in there.
And I'd have that in there, or some combination.
Yeah.
I mean, I would clearly identify the C as a pay-as-you-throw, because some people will recognize it by that name.
But the only thing is, I when we're discussing within ourselves, I like using pay as you throw, but for the public, I don't like to use the word pay as you throw because
Okay.
people do get, I don't know, just the terminology gets them excited. If you just say bag program or user fee, I normally pick a color. You know, we're going to a green bag program. We're going to a blue bag program. It's right now you have a black bag program, so it's just people buying their black bag.
It's not true. We're supposed to have clear bags.
Supposed to have
We
clear
don't
bags.
enforce it, so there's
Yeah,
100
but
black
anyway,
bags.
They want authority, basically.
Okay?
Okay, and then
I,
I,
Chicken bags.
Mike, can I just, one
Sure,
more
go
thing
ahead.
on that?
Right.
I think we call it pay as you throw, because that's really what it is. And if we call it something else, we call it the green bag system, then it's like a smoke screen. Like, let's be honest with everybody, because that's really what it is. You pay as you throw. If you throw a bag out, you pay for that bag,
But
right?
that's what you just say here, user fee,
user fee.
depending
It
on
is.
how many bags you, how many trash
Pay as you
bags
throw.
you put it in the disposal. And I just don't want everything is, this is, yeah, terminology does get people.
Just-
It should be clear terminology, especially for the elderly to understand real
But the
simply.
simple terminology too. If you start
Something along
confusing
those
people,
lines.
thinking, you know, green program, and say, what's a green program?
well, it's
So they're not
basically,
gonna do propaganda of.
Right, it's just a user fee,
It's a
that's what it
user
is,
fee.
it's a user fee.
it's a user fee.
Just
Yeah,
like
it is.
the not putting ad hoc in there, I think the thing is if somebody questions who's running it or who's doing it, at least at that point, then we're gonna get some communication. Somebody's gonna ask. And the idea of the survey or this, little informative sheet, the idea is to get somebody to, whether they call the town hall and ask what's going on, or, just one phone call by somebody asking information means we did our job with the paper.
This is-
Whether they were confused or we didn't put enough information on it, they called to get more information, and that's what we're trying to do.
That is important. I totally agree with that. But then in that case, then we need phone numbers and emails on this, and there's neither here.
Well, hold on. So
Or a
then,
phone number and email.
and then on the questions,
Let's give it to the Board of Health.
on the question, I had no problem with question 1 or 2, except that social media, not everybody looks at focused on Southbridge, so it should just be social media.
Yeah, I agree.
Facebook, because people sometimes get it at other social media. So, question 2 is fine. Question 3, I think we should just cut to the chase. Which option would you prefer? Period. I don't think asking residents,
Have you visited the
have you
site?
visited the site? I think,
Right.
to me, that's just a waste of time. I
This
think
will give us a real good beat on what
we need to
people.
we need to be direct. What do you want? And get this out as soon as possible.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
I mean, this is just asking has you visited the website? It's just a waste. It's just one more step we gotta go through here. Let's just,
Looking at this from a senior's point of view,
right.
and I put out plenty of meals every day, they're not gonna know what the heck this is. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not gonna understand it. User fee, depending on how many bags, trash, stickers, or weight is put out for disposal. What's that? What are you talking about? I don't understand that. So, in that case, who are they gonna call? And is this place gonna be inundated with phone calls for elderly people wondering what's gonna happen to my trash? Oh wait, I don't have a car. How am I gonna get rid of my trash? If we have a transfer station. Personally, I've been out there polling people. And everybody I have polled, including real estate brokers, have said, I want it curbside pickup.
Well, yeah, that was already established, so.
But that's right, but what I'm saying is here, that doesn't clarify anything.
All right, so how would
What's
you,
it gonna cost me? How
Well,
much is
we're
that? So
working-
like I said, it's gonna be, you gotta give an example though, but whether it's gonna cost, you just give an example. It would cost, say, and this isn't a final
bag, I- what I'm
answer,
saying.
X amount of dollars per bag, you know,
Or
they need to have the figures because.
We don't have that yet.
we
We
do-
got to
we-
bid.
You gotta give it, I know, but you gotta give an example. And you can do that whether you have a final bid or not. Is it gonna, you know, it could be whatever.
I don't know how much more straightforward we could be though.
Wasn't this
Using-
part of phase two?
Yeah.
First we have to get it out and then we start to tell them that.
Correct.
This is the first stage.
Yeah, the
Right,
one,
right,
Right, and I get that, but they're gonna say this and go, I don't know.
So maybe we should throw in a specific that we know from one of the other communities that does it, they charge X.
I don't think so.
Exactly.
If you put a number on it, we own it.
Yeah.
If you put a number on the paper, we own it. mean,
Not if you
I
put
agree.
as an
Everybody,
example.
everyone has
Worcester
elderly,
does this.
family.
Correct.
One at a time,
Seniors.
please. Go
We
ahead.
don't know what ours will be, but this is what we know about.
I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't give a number either.
No.
That number will stick right in their head for some reason.
Not, not at
You know how that
this
works.
point. Eventually, we're gonna have to.
You
Yes.
promised us.
Eventually, we will.
When we get an RFP back with a number.
Right.
Right.
But like we kind of have a floating $2 million. Who knows
Right,
what
right. Till
things
that RFD, I agree.
we don't
Agree with you
know.
wholeheartedly. Don't give any numbers, because that can saline people and.
We're
That's
still
my
waiting for the
opinion.
electric
But
bill
then
when that
then
comes
how do
out.
we- Then how do we address her point of view, her point there? Of people not.
I don't think we can yet.
Well, if they're worked up because they're confused, at least now they're confused about trash, so we got them on the page.
And that's when they're going to come to different meetings. I thought there was a group that already went to the senior. I think the town administrator did go to a senior meeting. I want to say he did.
Oh, he did.
He did.
He did.
He did.
So at least there is. We got 2024.
That's
We
the
still have
one
some
I was
time.
at.
So
And
if we
nobody
say-
knew what the hell he was talking about.
So if we say, let's say, for example, property taxes, you're gonna pay for your trash through your property taxes.
That's what we've been doing all along.
Right, that's correct, just as we've been doing now. Flat fee. I don't understand how that works either. Is that like an enterprise fund? But that was on this, so I left it as.
Yeah, it could be either way. There are some communities that do not use an enterprise fund. It's just the town collects money. It's just the
How
enterprise
do they
fund
do it?
is an accounting mechanism of how you show the final paper. So if you're using it in the general fund, the money came in, and then you have another line over here, the money went out.
So you're gonna send everybody a bill that
Quarterly.
gets their trash picked up.
Yeah.
And that's just a
Which is
flat
kind of like a
bill.
pay per tote system. It's, you'd pay for this much for a
Right.
one family, two
So
family,
it
three
doesn't matter how
family.
much you put out, you're gonna get a flat fee.
Yes,
Right.
and you would pay for your unit if you had one unit, if you had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that is
escalate.
the thing where we would get some fairness to the Southbridge system.
Right.
Is you would literally pay for your unit, and it wouldn't be offensive to a multifamily. You wouldn't be attacking any commercial. You wouldn't be attacking anybody. It would be just based on your number of units, which
Number
would
of
be
apartments or cans?
Units.
units.
Each, say like a three
If
family.
you have
would
a
to have
4
three
apartment,
cans.
you have 4 units.
So it
you
would
would
be the property owner who
Correct.
pay the flat fee.
correct.
And they would probably pass it on to the renters.
No doubt.
And then
Well,
user fee.
either way, then the renter, if you have 4 renters,
Yeah. Like-
then you would have, those 4 renters would pay the same thing as a single-family home or close there to it.
Yeah, I get that.
And then the third one would be user fee, and that would be pay as you throw.
You pay for how many bags you throw out.
You would pay for how many bags you throw out.
But maybe we
Does
should
that
call
make
that a
sense?
bag fee, to make it clear that we're paying by bag. Or bag or sticker, because we may decide to do stickers.
I know. The one thing with
How do you
stickers
get
are
rid of that one?
I think that's clear right there, user fee.
That's what
How
I
you
thought.
stated it.
Well, I
That's
think, I think it is too, but.
Maybe just
I
take out
think
stickers and wait,
the
because I
average-
don't think that's gonna work.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll take out stickers and wait. So would it
Maybe
make
just put in
sense to you?
parentheses, pay by bag or something that's real clear.
Right, so
Would it
it
make
says
sense
it's
to
paid
you?
by,
It's
instead of
still
saying
a good thing either
depending,
way, 'cause you're sticking on the
pay-
bag, so, yeah.
put the word pay in front. Pay depending on how many trash bags
You
is
throw away.
put out for disposal.
Does that make sense?
That makes more
That's
sense.
good.
Yeah, that makes
All right.
sense.
Okay. Depending on how many.
The next question they're gonna have is, who's gonna get rid of my trash? Do I put it on the curb? Well,
Yeah.
we are gonna use,
Yeah.
we're still gonna use the,
It's
Yeah.
still curbside
And I
collection.
can make
Curbside
that.
collection.
I
Or
can
maybe
make
you
that-
want to put that in there then?
I did have it in there,
Southbridge
but
will
I'll make it.
continue to use the existing existing trash carts. So maybe the word curbside needs to
Yes.
be in there.
Okay.
That-
So people
that
do not
definitely
get the thing.
clarifies.
All right.
Right, we had it
Absolutely.
up here, but we can.
I'm not trying to, I'm gonna say it flat out. I mean, the older you get, the more confused you get, and the dumber you get. Don't say a word. And you need to dumb it down. You need to dumb it down. I'm sorry, we're just a society that needs to have a lot of things dumbed down, and we're an older community,
All right, yep, I get it.
you know?
So do you like the bottom part where, on the version that I did, which option would you prefer, period? I think that's what we should be
No, I
asking.
like that.
It'll give us a good temperature reading of what people are
Right.
looking for.
Correct.
You have three to pick, you gotta pick one, right?
Yep.
Right.
And that was our main premise with this, right? This is the initial one, just saying, I remember when we discussed just to put March 24th emphasis, it's coming down.
What if we're
And it's
gonna
not happening this winter,
Sure.
you know.
We still
What
have
if
a
we're
whole
gonna
year.
have that last question be a rank them rather than pick one?
I agree. That's,
Because it's gonna be, yeah,
Facebook, website,
No, I know,
No,
I
for
meant
the-
the
when
question.
you
well,
rank,
number
instead of
three.
just,
Number one, two.
which
Right.
one do you
Which type of
prefer?
trash
Right.
Rank 1, 2,
payment
3.
you want.
Yes, rank.
So,
Maybe we should go and be a combination. How they think, what they.
fine, but you can kind of look at it, how many say that they prefer number 1, how many prefer
Right.
number 2, and then the likelihood is we'll have 30%.
Maybe. Maybe we'll see it really.
And it's still just up to the town to just decide what's.
So basically, it's the same as ranking. So,
Kind of.
I lean with what it says right there, which
Option?
is just
The three
that
options.
thing, yeah. the
Yeah,
three
I agree.
options. I mean, it's, if you're, when you're saying kind of dumb it down,
Simple as that.
simple, simple,
Exactly.
right?
Yep. And to the point.
Okay,
Trust me, I do it every day.
anybody have anything else?
The only thing I would add to the options of question number one, I would say town website or YouTube page, because some may see it there.
What would you say?
I would say add to the town website or YouTube page, because some may see it there. If, for example, they watch the town council meetings, but they didn't do it on Cable, they do it on
Alright.
one of those two places.
Now, question regarding communication, we're telling people to go to the website, if you're a senior and don't have a website, but I think they not typically call town hall anyway, right? Or
So
do
we
we
should
think
add
they have to
you wanna
have
start add a phone number at the
a
bottom?
board?
Or they show up at the senior center and say, what does this mean?
And maybe that's the thing, did you, so he went to the, senior center and Anna went to the, landlord association. So they both have already been updated at least a little bit.
So we should.
Right, no, that's what this was, this is
Yeah,
just the
this
second,
initial-
this is the second meeting of the committee, so
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, that's
just
how I
here.
wound up here.
Well, under,
When I
under,
told them I'd think about it.
under question number one,
That's what-
we
and we
should
asked-
include on the
So
entrance.
we put it on the list that we want
Yeah.
senior understanding on the committee.
Yeah,
So
put
thank
that
you
in
for
there
coming.
too.
We should add that in.
This, number one senior.
Under
center.
question one, we should add senior center too.
Probably should just, instead of word of mouth,
Yeah.
we just put senior center. or
I mean,
something.
it may be word of mouth in other forms.
well, word of
but-
mouth could be other.
Exactly.
So you're saying if the word of mouth becomes senior center? Is that what you're
Correct.
saying?
We could do it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, I would think.
I have no problem with that.
It's so funny, for different events I had, I always just said, how'd you hear about it? And they would say, my wife. My wife got it from somebody, I don't know, I'm just here because my wife told me.
So now
I was
at the
just
bottom, thank you for filling out this survey. Southbridge Ad-Hoc Curbside Trash Committee, I could take out the word ad hoc if you
Yeah, I would
prefer.
get rid of the ad hoc, because nobody cares about that.
And then please visit,
All of the various references to ad hoc. is
please
good.
visit the website at, and I put an email address. Do you want me to add a phone number too? Whose phone number? The health
Oh,
department.
definitely, definitely.
They know already.
Don't pass the buck.
They're not gonna call my house, cause I'm not gonna be able to tell them.
True, exactly.
We'll get something together for our entire team, you know, some answers that we can all be, again, transparent, but just consistent in our answers.
So you want me to put your phone number? So you do,
Yeah.
you do want me to add your phone number?
At this point, I think it would be best.
All right.
There's gonna be questions, there's no
There's,
question.
yeah, there's,
Especially when you can't go to www dot,
Okay,
done.
or call,
I don't even have time for that.
Yeah,
all right.
the calls,
So
you're
you-
absolutely, we'll get
Is this committee,
Even
is
if it's on
this
calls.
committee okay with me making these changes and then
No, I'm
sending
all
it to them?
for it.
Because we gotta get this out.
Yeah.
No, we
Yep.
don't.
What
No,
is
that's-
the other things that you took out on this one? So we have this paper, can you just go through?
I will
and-
go through it. Number one, Curbside collection 2024. Southbridge curbside collection is ending, period. I didn't put in there anything else. I didn't put in the trash program, I didn't put in the landfills closing. I don't think they care about that.
I think they need to know that we have a current contract until March 2024, and it's just
I
not
think the
ending.
date is okay, but everybody knows it's closing. I really think that most people are aware because it's been out there for long enough.
Yeah.
So then I have our vendor will continue to provide curbside trash and recycling service through the current landfill contract until March 24th, 2024.
I would get rid of the current landfill contracts just until March 2024. They don't care about
Yeah.
that.
Landfill's gone.
All right,
Yeah, they don't care.
get rid of current.
Wait, get rid of current?
Current landfill contract.
Just
Just
the contract period.
through
Just-
the
it will
landfill
through-
contract.
Through the, not even landfill.
Get rid of
just
the landfill.
Through March 2024.
Right.
Leave it at that. Keep it simple.
Then I have, at that time, Southbridge residents will need to pay for trash disposal, recycling collection, and processing costs through billing. Is there a better way for me to say that than
I
that?
would just say processing costs, period.
All right.
And then when you get down to the next line, it makes it clear.
A, B, and
how
C
it-
clarifies that.
Exactly.
All right, so I'll get rid of billing.
Because it's either, if it's taxes, then it's in your taxes, and then
Well,
if
yeah,
it's billing, it's
taxes
gonna
are
be in a
billing.
flat fee, which would be a bill,
All right,
because your taxes,
We're still worried about the first line. Can you do the first line again? Southbridge Municipal.
Southbridge curbside collection is ending. Our vendor will continue to provide curbside trash and recycling services until March 24th, 2024.
I think we'll have panic that
Put the
minute.
date, put the date in the first line, in March 2024.
So I just don't know if we want to say
Right.
ending. When I think of it is ending, that means I'm calling a hauler now to try to get service because that means I don't have a
It's
program.
true, if this doesn't pass council vote, they need to call the vendor and get hauling.
Then how about we say it is, it will definitely.
Well, that's why we
change
said
in
that
March
the
2024.
Southbridge Municipal Trash Program will be going through changes.
I
in
can
the-
put that back in. I can put
I
that
just
back in
think
if you correct, if you want.
Changes, I think the word ending is very finite
Okay.
and we'll get everybody, I mean, we want people to be upset,
it's
but
gonna
not,
be, it's gonna be a change, all right, we're not gonna have it, it's gone. I mean, I think it's pretty clear, it is not there, it's not happening.
All right, so then I will leave the Southbridge Municipal Trash Program will be going through changes in the next 18 months. Is that fine? And I don't think we need to put the Southbridge landfill closed.
No.
No,
Everybody knows
that's
that.
irrelevant. Everybody knows
And
that.
then on March, as Councilor Steves would like, March 24th, 2024, our vendor, what? Our vendor will,
continue to provide.
I was thinking, as I said, I think we should put that in the first sentence.
right,
That it will end, we will be changing in March 2024.
all right. Okay, so then I took out through billing, and how will we pay for this multi-million-dollar bill? And I have some of the options. I didn't put, a new ad hoc curbside committee
Yeah.
was recently formed. I don't think they care about
We
that.
don't care about that.
So it's just some of the options or a combination of options that are being discussed include A, property taxes. And you want me to take out that line in this option, both residents and businesses support this town service? Or do you want me to change it to, you will be charged through your taxes, property
Now, we
tax?
don't need to give them an opinion in that, we just need
I
to
think you
say
say
it's gonna
property
be
taxes, everybody
in
wants
property
something.
taxes, it's
So
gonna
it's
be in
just
your property
period?
tax.
Based on your home value.
That's it,
Where it's
nothing
been right
else.
along.
All
Like I
right.
said, where everybody is aware, it's been right along since the beginning.
So
It's
just
not in your
property,
property taxes.
Huh?
That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
is
it's not,
It's not in
Right.
your property taxes.
Well,
Well, it is in fact, but it's a pass-through, so it washes.
it doesn't have a line
But
item.
it is there.
right.
right. So if you don't have a line item, it's not in the taxes.
so you want it just the property taxes
It's just you
period.
haven't paid the bill.
Exactly.
The-
You haven't paid the bill.
Casella has paid the bill.
So you're just gonna leave it as just property taxes?
Just property
Right,
taxes,
but that,
nothing else?
But it
Not at the
should
very
say there,
beginning.
based on the value of your
Sell it.
home.
Yeah, let's keep it
But
to the very
before
beginning.
that,
Well, everybody
it was not,
explain it
you had a landfill, you
No,
still didn't pay.
we don't know.
I agree.
There's no line item, you haven't had a
I
line
think-
item.
Okay, hold
Like-
on.
You're right, just property tax.
All right, and then B, flat fee paid by property owners based on the number of housing units. Is that
That's it,
fine?
leave that, yep,
All right. I'll take out in this option.
yep.
And then C, user fee paid depending on how many trash bags you put out. Is that fine? That you put out to the curb. How's that?
Yeah,
Yeah, for disposal, or you say you want to
Or
put,
for disposal, that's fine. To the
Because
curb
they're-
The curbside, yeah.
for disposal.
Yeah, that's good.
Then I left in Southbridge will continue to use the existing
curbside.
curbside garbage collection. Is that fine, or,
Trash carts.
all right,
Yeah,
curbside trash carts.
Because it's already right there. We're just saying to
Right.
put curbside there.
We are asking you to fill out this short survey. I'm gonna take out ad hoc curbside trash, I'm just gonna put curbside trash
Well,
committee.
you haven't
will
said
review it.
they're returning it with their census, right? You're keeping
Right.
that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm keeping that. Curbside trash committee will review and provide information, so forth and so on. Then please tell us where you get your town information from. Please check all that apply. I left it all in, I'm adding YouTube, I'm changing word of mouth to senior center. Please check one, I am a household Southbridge homeowner, landlord, renter. And which option do you prefer, A, B, or C?
That's good.
Simple enough.
That's real good.
Simple, all right.
This is gonna get us what we want.
Thank you for taking the time. Southbridge Curbside Trash Committee, please visit Curbside Collection 2024 at www and add the phone number. Are we good on that?
Do we have that website set up yet?
I don't think we do. I looked
I
at it.
think she had a page where you had that information.
We have the website, but we haven't updated it, right? That's what we need.
I
is-
don't think it's been created yet.
And we're gonna be working on that with Victor, our new IT.
Okay.
Yeah, we looked into that, and we actually were also looking into, paying for that with the grant funds.
Okay.
That we had to graphic artist or an IT special, but he said he was able to do a majority of it for free.
So I guess-
One time,
Unfortunately, right, before, this needs to go out when?
December 26th, she said, it needs to go out.
So if this is going out by December 26th, then we need to
We need a-
be all over the IT department because we have to have a website before this gets mailed out or we've basically sent out nothing.
Exactly.
Well, I
Is
think,
Victor here?
I think you'll have it.
Can we just bring him in?
I mean, I think he'll have it and like getting him in front of us and being like, is this possible?
that's a good point.
Can it
Right,
happen?
We've gone
We
back
got
and forth.
Christmas that we have,
A lot of time
Yeah,
off
it's
coming
very
up.
valid point, and we were in
Yeah,
discussions
it's right across the
with
front.
the, yeah, if you could.
Actually,
With
Town hall's
with the
closed
manager,
26th.
town manager's office, Hannah there.
Yeah.
That made us aware that this was all feasible to do.
This isn't going out until January, just so you know.
Right.
Oh, it just needs to be.
But it has to go to the
Yeah, yeah,
printer.
it goes out in January, but we have to get this form to the person, a director of municipal relations in
Yeah.
Ellen C. Daniels in Brockton,
Yeah, yeah.
Mass, that will do all of this for Maddie. Maddie will then get a bill which she turns over and repay for this, all of this.
So- even at that, we're talking January, which isn't a lot of time to
Right.
make sure, because, we would not look very good without having the website before the mailer goes out.
We'll have
And I don't want to take somebody's,
We have general,
maybe-
I mean, if you visited, we do have it
But it
section in
hasn't
the
been
website.
updated.
It hasn't been, right.
So it's still got the old committee members on there? Yeah, it hasn't been updated.
Okay.
Gus, he was at DPW when I left, so he's probably still down there.
Oh, is he on?
He was down there earlier.
Okay, are we all set on the mailer? Everybody
As
all
long
okay?
as Victor can do it in time, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to him too.
Well, it has to be in
And-
by,
Let's make it a
so,
priority.
Gus, it's
It's
gonna
a
be
big deal.
in by December,
Yeah,
but it's not going out until January.
right.
So, we
We do have a little
do,
time.
there is time, but
Make
we
sure it's
still,
done.
Nice to get
because of, vacation and whatnot, we need to just make sure,
that. Sounds good.
Just may I ask, in terms of, aside from the wording on this, but just appearance, we're good with the way it is on white paper, black, with the red and the emblem, because she did speak with Anna, this Ellen C. Daniels, and wants to know exactly how we
Right.
want it.
IT question for you.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
So the IT director is here and he can answer our
Nice. I don't
questions.
think I've ever met you yet. I'm Gus. by the way.
Victor Roll.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. How can I help?
Dan?
Dan,
Well, so Victor, as Anna had talked to you about setting up a website, a web page for specifically with a curbside trash program.
Right now, when we were talking, it was more about the news flashes, not web page.
Okay.
So updating news flashes, posting a newsflash with current information you want to share, and then as things change or there's updates, just posting newer news flashes so that those get updated.
Because we're thinking of sending this out, this is a previous version, with a specific website at the bottom so people can go to it on a regular basis.
Yep, and we talked about that. We can create links on there to, as long as we have the URLs, we can create links on that newsflash so that it will take them to other informational sites and things like that. But
Wasn't that going to the trash? You have a trash page, recycle Sturbridge.
Yep.
So I think isn't that what Southbridge? Sorry, if that I think that's the page that you wanted to put here, and then when you're on recycle Southbridge, boom, there is
I thought we were
this
talking about
page.
specifically having a dedicated page that was not going to.
Well, the current page is got old committee members on, listed on it. So the current page needs to be updated to some capacity, and then literally, however you would add the flash, the news flash, yeah, so that somebody could at least get to the web page and or leave. I don't know if it's possible for them to email or some.
Right.
We have to find a different avenue to get it, because if Dan gets all the phone calls, I can't even imagine that.
But she also
We'll manage, to the degree. But
the residents can also sign up for notifications. I believe she was going to test that out when we were talking, because on the website you can log in and then create an account and then do notifications for different pages you want updates. When there's an update, they get a notification. When there's a new piece of information on that page. So she was going to test that out to see how that would work, especially with the other page on there. And then that was the last
So
conversation.
we're looking on setting out this flyer in January,
Right.
but we want to be certain that before we send out the flyer, that the current webpage for the trash committee and whatnot has been updated with its newest members, and that it's accurate,
Okay.
Right.
so that
just
we're
needs to
not
share
sending
that.
out
We'll
false
we'll
information.
need some kind of web address to put on here that
Exactly.
a senior can type in and get there easily. Not
On
southbridgemass.org,
this
trash,
form?
this,
Yeah,
that.
on this
Yeah,
form.
yeah.
Exactly.
So the address you want on here is the other page we have, or some other external address?
Well, we were originally talking about the idea of doing it as a very simple external address, not their internal Board of Health pages, because that's, quite frankly, pretty cumbersome already.
But I think the recycle one is the external.
It's external.
So tell him I said it's recycle.
It's not external, it's on our site, but it's its own page.
Page.
It has its own URL.
That's what we're talking about. It's
So,
on
yeah,
URL.
So that the newsflash will link right to that page.
There you go.
And then
If they
that
click on
has
it.
a whole spot in there up on top that would say collection, curbside collection 2024, so they know exactly where to go.
That's the
That has to be
Because then if you have that
Right.
site, because that site then will go on, and then we can have this committee, there needs to be a committee page too, and they already had
There
an
is a
old
committee
one.
page, it just needs to be updated, because
And then
right
that-
now, if they found it, they would find
Okay.
whoever was on the old committee.
So I don't know who's has that information. They can share that with me. I can update that.
Well,
information.
I'll go through Anna, but the main question is, we don't want to be, it's the timing, essentially.
It's quick.
Okay.
It's quick, yeah,
To
because we're
update that
looking at,
information.
we need to get this out by the 26th, and we can do that. But and then the census will be out in January. So by the beginning of New Year. And
Right.
31st is our deadline to have that website fully operational, constructed, to T.
I agree.
If I
Right, would
had
that be-
the content already, it would be updated tomorrow.
Alright.
Like, it's that
Anna
quick.
had the piece of paper, she emailed us, we were talking about it, what was just gonna be quickly on a page. Was that your next thing there?
It was not, well, it was,
Just that this committee is here and
um,
there's just some basic information, I think, isn't that?
it's a less, this,
Yes,
yes, yes.
so you
But
wanna,
we were gonna share that net, and we already know to do the curbside collection. But that is something that Anna put together that would be presented on the web.
Okay.
So just to have at least get the page going with
And
just some
like
basic
a
information.
synopsis of everything constructed.
Is this
would
for
be-
the newsflash or for like content for the existing page?
For
It's
the
basically
existing
a
plan.
new landing page, so when they go in there, they will immediately jump to that. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So they don't have to jump through all of the think, reduce, recycle stuff.
But I
They can
think
go
if-
straight to this.
I think, Gus, if they got
And they can
this,
link to the other stuff if they want to. But we need to reverse the link so they land here first.
but I
Well,
think
Right.
if they got this, right,
Yeah,
and they click on a link, it's because they're looking for more information.
absolutely.
So at that point, you give them, that's when you have on there what our committee is,
Right.
what we're doing, what we're, like, the stuff we left out of it, correct?
Like this one, if you guys wanna look at that, I mean, that's what she constructed with that idea.
Correct.
Also,
More
alternatively,
clarification.
that could be a PDF document that they click on and it pops up as well.
Well, we want it to be up, like, we want it,
Constantly.
Yeah.
well, yeah, when they click, so let's imagine they're getting this, they're looking on here, they get to the link, they type the link in, whatever. The page you want them to get to is what we're doing, what we are, what we're doing,
Direct to the
like
page,
all
not
the
clicking
information,
anywhere else.
that's where we wanna put all the stuff we pulled out.
Yeah.
Let's put that on there. Like the more detailed version.
Right.
That's what we want them to have. We want them to know that this is the committee, these are the committee members, just like the old one said, and then have in here, all the stuff we pulled out.
So, and I'm just getting familiar with this and the pages that exist already. So there's some updating I'm hearing for those.
Mhm.
Is any of that going to relate to this because you want to avoid redundancy?
Correct, because that committee's, I would say, have a different charge than the previous committee. That be accurate? I think that's
Yeah, the
accurate.
previous committee is done. It's
Right,
done.
but the previous committee had a different purpose. They're done and gone, but their purpose was different than our
So
task here.
could we just update that?
Last-
Well, that was my question. That's going to be my next question is that existing page, maybe we just update it and
Just
utilize
update
it
that?
for
Would that
this
be good?
purpose.
And that would be, if that's where we get to when you click on this link,
Mhm.
perfect.
Okay.
Because they're obviously looking for more information, like any more detailed information. And the job of this is just to be like, it's closing, we gotta have a plan, in everything, all the important, not important, but all of the detailed information that we pulled out, we would have on that page.
Is that doable?
It's all, any which way is doable on there.
It
We
is.
can create our own page, we can use an existing page. It just, however you want to make it flow, we just want to make sense and not be too convoluted or complicated for the residents.
Absolutely, and that's what it would entail. I'm thinking a really good sit-down with you, myself, and Anna.
Yeah,
At that time, if you could just be able to afford a few hours,
sure.
to get all of this together, we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And I told Anna this, like, if you have the content laid out already in advance, like even in a Word doc, then it's easy. It's just a matter of copying and pasting how we want to lay it out on the page, and
And you could do, some graphics,
Oh, yeah.
you can add
pictures,
images.
images, yeah, we can add it.
Yeah, we could put different trash bags on there.
Pick your fun
Right,
color.
but a nice presentation, whatever we can put on there.
I have lots of presentation stuff.
Picture of toters blowing across the street.
Yeah.
Are we all set then?
Yep.
With this?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Victor.
I know,
you very
I
much.
was thinking that they're specific, if we're gonna use this, definitely make these links so they don't have to go hunting for it.
All right. perfect.
Okay,
So we're all
Direct-
good
they
with the
would directly
mailer?
link through the-
Everybody
Hang
okay
on,
with that?
Dan had one more, right?
well, I just want to know, moving forward, how we all feel with this discussion, the presentation, and our goal to have all the information ready for myself and Victor at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys want to individually send information, or should we just use one? I don't want to confuse her and everybody else,
Right,
and you
sure.
guys, have something like we did, similarly constructed this.
I think we
But that website,
I think the website is like, would be, remember our opening agenda, like when we first started, you know, like this was, we changed it, like this was our charge, this is, you know, what our object of our committee is, correct?
Mission statement.
Yeah, basically like the mission statement, that's what we, you know, basically our beginning agenda, here's, you know, on there. And literally, you can inform people by every meeting right there. Like our most recent agenda could just be copy and pasted right on there in one of the
I can
pages.
see
Yeah, just anybody, your counselors, somebody also within our team when we're doing this.
I will
Just to-
send you some information,
Okay.
what our agenda was.
Okay.
Gus will send you some, anybody else can send it to him.
We'll collectively put it all together and hash it away.
All right,
Then, again, timing is the essence, right, with the holidays.
Yeah, we
and
do as
everything.
much as we can do to get started.
Yeah.
We can always add to it because if, you know, once we lock down a solid plan that we will bring before council, you know, maybe this is the website that continues to keep going, you know, we would obviously remove us from it at that point, but maybe this is the website that if there's ever a change to trash or whatnot, like it's its own link, you know, that continues on.
I have to be
You know,
honest
you-
with you, though, I have a lot of neighbors that don't even look at the town's website, they don't.
Oh, I'm sure they don't.
They don't even know
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
not an easy site to negotiate. I don't like the new one.
No, me neither.
It's
I totally
confusing.
agree.
It is.
Well, that's
Very
why the thing is, you
confusing.
do have a think recycle,
That's something we should
that if you
do.
just have that, and then boom, the first thing onto the right
I
is
agree.
curbside collection 2024, and then that has all of your information right there.
I
So
agree with you.
it's this, when we have here www, it's going to be think recycle, but when you hit that, the top right will be the curbside information.
Okay, let's move on then. If we're okay with the mailer, everybody okay with that? You wanna do a vote on that? Everybody agrees with it? Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 7, I didn't know what else you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because I wanted to take, because right now we're getting in the this is getting the word out, because that's the most important thing, is because we had people that were confused on dates, and that's the most important thing, especially when you're doing any change, is you want the public to have where to communicate. You have a meeting that's being publicized. You have we're going to do the survey. We're going to do this. So I just wanted to take this minute right now, a short minute, to take like a top view of, and it was really nice, like a mini Southbridge material management plan. So I like that you already did a little research. You did the email out to everybody. And I just wanted to, you know, if we don't know the why we're doing it, the who's going to do it, the when, the what, the how the program's going to work, then how do we expect that we're going to have a healthy program?
Sure.
You know? Right. And so right now we're taking on a new program of just 1 to 6 family households, but we've never really taken the time just to take a minute and just look at who's really in charge of the contracts. And so I was kind of just going to ask you a few just quick questions just to get people to think of, because a lot of things do from the town go directly to the Board of Health, but note that it doesn't need to. And it's not looking for an answer right now, but just something to think about is an example I was giving to for is the town of Air has it's spread out to everybody. So not one department is fully overwhelmed. So the contract is between the town administrator, the board of selectmen need to sign a contract. That is the legal body in that town. So I think for here it's the councilors. You sign the contract. Policy changes. Right now, you're a council, so you guys are doing the policy changes. We were talking about is just some things have to go to a bigger meeting or something like that. In Air's case, it's under the Board of Health. Right. The Board of Health has policy changes. If we're looking at going to hauler regulations, if we're doing policy changes to decide the fee structure for pay-as-you-throw, it was done under the Board of
Well,
Health.
hauler regulations would still be under Board of Health, but fee structure would be under the council.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, Dan is the enforcement.
And
Dan's the enforcement when it
Yes,
comes to
yes.
that. I mean, the Board of Health is directly related to trash.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Enforcement.
absolutely. By law, yeah.
well, I have towns that make it the DPW. So in the charges, who does the operations, who's watching the contracts, who's active with the vendor, who has those types of questions. So in Air's case, it is actually the DPW that takes on the everyday daily stuff. Like the Board of Health just did, it's like once a year to once every 5 years, that kind of stuff. But then the daily, okay, the calls coming in, this kind of thing, it's all done through the Board of Health.
It's generally been.
I mean, the DPW, that was,
Here it's the Board of Health.
and here's the Board of Health, I know. And, like, who does the grants, you know? So one of the things is, like, they have another department that does the
Sometimes
grants.
they do it, sometimes we do it. Ultimately, all grants have to go through the council.
Town council, but
But
Dean does it
The
sometimes.
authority has some, the Board of
Sometimes
Health
they
has
do
their
it.
own authority too, so they can do certain things, so.
Okay. And then it's, what do we take on? So I put this in alphabetical order, so they're not in anything of bulky waste. So we want to make sure our residents have a place to deal with bulky waste. We don't want, I think the why is people generate it. We don't want it just on the streets.
Right.
So there should be somebody, but right now the current contract that's going till 2024 is 1 to 6 family households. Bulky waste is in the program, and the proposal for this next one is that it would come out, but you get a fee structure, and that the resident would pay something directly.
I can tell you right now that they're gonna blow a gasket because 4 families plus were supposed to contract their own trash. They weren't supposed to have free pickup. We never enforced it. And if you drive around town, out of 200 and something, there's probably 200 that there's 6 barrels lined up outside that we never enforced.
I think she's talking about bulk waste, like
Yeah,
couches.
Right, but
but that's the next
what I'm
level,
saying,
is level
what
of
I'm-
service. Yeah.
what I'm saying is, you know, one to, you know, you're talking, when you start getting, that's what I'm saying, is when you get up there, these are people that should have paid that didn't have to pay. And now when you set up, you know, it'd be nice to set up like a transfer station to take the bulky items and collect a fee, but we're gonna, you know, just know that we're gonna try and collect a fee from somebody that got away with it for a bit.
Good luck with that.
All right. So the question then is,
I want to let somebody
Yeah.
talk back here. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, you brought up the transfer station. I wrote this actually on the agenda for tonight. Was under CDBG funds, long term. There is a look at transfer station, possibly for the town. And we talked, Mike and I and the guys, we've talked about this tremendously. Make sure that we get a transfer station in this town. So that's on the near future.
so there is money available. You're saying?
CDBG, well, we have to figure out if we go back up to the landfill and have it regionally set up through maybe Casella, who owns that property, or DPW. There's future talks on it, near
Yeah.
future talks on this.
Yep.
Didn't we fund that in one of the CDBG grants? I don't know which one.
No, but you
It's not in
can,
the current-
and that's something that Mike
Yeah,
found.
yeah,
You can.
do it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So Casella owns the land?
They do. They own the blue building.
No, we
They own the
land.
blue building, we own the land.
We own the
So-
But
landfill.
there's a 21E already set up over there,
Yeah.
so you don't have to redo a 21E at all.
Right.
So it's already set, and then
If
Casella.
the town owns the
But
land,
then we're
then you have the
gonna
land.
rent from them,
Well,
right?
some
They
of
own
the
the
surrounding land is also owned by Casella.
We would
Oh,
lease
I
from
thought it
them.
was your land and
Or we would do our
South-
own
uh,
thing.
Charlton.
Depends where it is.
One at a time, please.
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to get information from,
So
because
if
Dave has the
town-
information.
Town can buy that property.
That property?
Yep. Or you can lease it, or have Casella run it, and then Casella can turn around, you know, with approval by the town, of making it a regional, transfer station itself. So you see Dudley does it through the DPW,
Yep.
they hire 1.5 people. So, and it pays for itself actually every
Well, that's
single
what my question is which way would the town of Southbridge profit the most in a transfer station? Like which,
You don't profit from it.
well, to some extent, yeah, we do. To some extent, yeah, we
Pay for your
do.
DPW workers up there.
That's what I'm asking. That's a profit. If you pay for a worker, that's considered a profit.
Then we don't rent the stuff, so.
Correct.
If we,
But there's
Correct.
other there's
Just the way
other
it is.
fees. So I have
could do
75 communities. 40 of them have drop-offs. Nobody is making revenue. The only place that's not in Central Mass that's making revenue from it would be Lexington, and it's because of their yard waste pile. They have a great yard waste
So
operation
if we
where
don't
they
make,
get,
if we can't even pay the people that are gonna work there, why are we doing it?
No, you could. It would pay for that.
it pays for itself, but it's not a moneymaker.
Right.
That's
Well,
Unless you
what
made
I'm
it
saying-
regional.
If you paid for 2 people that you could hire, you're making money. You're
Right.
supplying 2 people with a salary in the town of Southbridge, that would hopefully live in the town of Southbridge. I mean, that's, okay. Paying their
that's
salary would be a profit
That's
from,
something that we want to
what you're
look
doing.
at, getting
Yep.
a transfer.
So the whole thing is just something to think about is then who takes that on? Is that something that goes under the Board of Health? Would that go into another thing? Would that be a DPW kind of thing? That would be a new landfill, a transfer station person, you know? So just something to think about. Composting bins. So in Air's case, they actually have a committee that is not even part of it. I have some places that they have the gardening club that does the compost education at the schools and different things, and so that it's out, but it gets the public aware of it. So I just wanted to bring that up of compost bins, selling compost bins as well as compost. You know, getting that out to.
To some degree, but I could easily see, if you wanna take that and expand it to, how to use compost and stuff, we could easily bring it into the agricultural commission. Get them involved.
you could do it at that transfer station.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then you, whether you sell the dirt or you give it to town residents, whatever you make from it, you turn it over like the poo-poo dirt at the sewer treatment plant.
Yep.
You know, that stuff grows the grass on a sunny day with no rain in sight for months. It'll grow grass.
So,
Yeah, but when it
Counselor,
starts to rain and it smells, you got an
Counselor
issue.
Adams and I
Listen, you
went to the
gotta-
Dudley.
You gotta take the good stuff with the bad, and I mean,
Believe me,
I like
I've
my,
had it at my house.
yeah, see, there you go, so you got
So
some.
Counselor Adams and I went to the Dudley transfer station. We saw how they were operating, and they had all that. They had recycling bins,
Mhm.
compost piles. They had it all.
It
So-
wasn't
Yeah.
a single source recycle,
No.
it was literally, it was broken down to,
Oh, yeah.
you know, where you have number 5s, number 7s and stuff like that, you throw it, Casella comes by, picks up the bin, throws another bin in there and hauls it off.
Yeah, so this is like thinking that you're thinking, because the one thing that's kind of nice is your current program just helps the residents, like the bulky waste or the yard waste, with 1 to 6 family units. If you do have a drop off, then that actually goes to more people, anybody. And if you go regional, then that could be Charlton, that could be Oxford, it could be other people that can come in that can pay, and then they can pay if they're not. So just thinking, like we're bringing this up, is a transfer station. Who would that take that on? I don't think the Board of Health could take that on, just because of
Not
timing.
out of capacity right now, no.
Right.
No,
But you would be
In DPW
you would be
office,
part of, you would be
Is there,
enforcement,
and that's the
but
next
the
question.
DPW would be
DPW 's definitely-
running and
Right,
operating.
the operational.
It would just be
Hold on, one at a
enforcement,
time.
Yeah, the enforcement
which would be part
we
of
could
your
take care of.
normal,
Right.
but as far as running the
But
program,
operationally, like, with, like, said, 2 additional people
Yeah.
to man this?
no, that'd be the DPW. I
That'd have
mean,
to be DPW.
Right?
and you would be the enforcement because that's your department, you were
We
the
could, we
enforcement
could
agent.
absolutely take on.
So you could take, either one
maintain
can
that.
get one
I mean,
person here
I'm
and 2
at-
people
I'm
there.
at water. I know administratively DPW stressed as far as staffing, we could probably handle it. As far as the road crew, that's just me.
But if we had a
The
fee
office is
structure,
that-
then it would be, we'd be hiring somebody.
Exactly. So,
Right.
and logically, it would be under DPW.
Hold on,
Yeah.
Counselor?
No,
Counselor
I don't
Adams?
mean to interrupt, I probably should leave this meeting, but that is part of the original plan, was to, if you got A, but you're gonna have to have B. So
Right.
DPW would have to have another truck,
Another
and
truck
a
and
couple other
person.
people, and if it was the assessor,
Right.
you'd have to have some, if it was an enterprise fund, the assessor would need an extra body in
Yep.
there to help offset all this stuff, so.
Could we support that cost with the transfer station?
I would see why not, or
Right.
you'd have to do some type of operational.
If we were
fund.
taking it from somewhere else as a transfer, we're not, we're just transferring it,
We
right?
don't know at this point. It depends on how much we charge.
Well, there's gotta be somebody, like, I would love to
So
go
everybody,
to,
you do a permit fee.
Yeah.
To cover the cost of what this is gonna, the hell, I lost my train of thought, but the tip fee,
Mhm.
you know, the workers, the truck, that's how your permit's gonna work, it's gonna be, okay, 100, you do simple math and hopefully it'll work itself out. It's not that simple.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright, so just, and then going to education, who, like I said, I'm doing this in alphabetical order. of the solid waste education. We have things here that we're already starting on the website and things like that. It's already on the Board of Health's purview, but I'm just thinking, grander of. We put a lot on Anna. She's wonderful, and I just want thinking grander is we're gonna keep funding her. Is there just something to this all comes into our implementation plan as well, but this mini material management, trying to just take a higher look here. Emergency waste, we don't always have just landfills, hurricanes. We had an ice storm that took out so much. It was just, what was the really big thing about the ice storm that happened 15 years ago? I was hit bad. It was 3 weeks without electricity. Is that everybody's refrigerator waste? And it's just to plan for that food waste, which we now have a lot of resources for, but it's just to plan for that. We don't really talk about that anywhere. It's not, when you have a contract for 1 to 6 family households, we don't really talk about
In
that.
Southbridge, we talk about it. We had a tornado.
Yep.
That's for sure.
We talk about it. If your fridge was still in your house, then you were ahead of the game. Never mind figuring out how to dispose of your food. It disposed of it for you.
There was a lot of things. So I didn't know if there is a particular place where that planning is. In some places that should all be in one document. Who is that person in charge of that emergency thing? The town administrator?
That'd be the fire department and the police department. Didn't we
Well,
do that?
they do have an emergency plan. I don't know if it includes that kind of a detail.
Yeah,
And
the waste disposal and the yard waste disposal and who do you have a contract for? Sometimes that we have, so on DP's website we have different things, like some places we have animal issues. We just had that right now with a whole bunch of birds. I'm with 4-H and we weren't allowed to have any bird at any fair because of the diseases that were going on.
Avian flu, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, chances are that stuff is in the document, but the document's like this thick.
Yep.
And
that's why sometimes those documents, that's why to have a mini one of just who's the contact. So when things come up of having that name and why it's important.
So you think that this is something that this committee is going to...
Well, I'm just thinking this is like the higher scale. We're going to be working on the town contract 1 to 6 family households and how to pay for it.
Okay.
But a lot of this kind of feeds into that.
All right.
Right.
And it's just, let's just take a minute to just see, do you already have something in place? Like you talked about in agriculture that you already had the tornado, so it was thought about. I just don't know how far.
We do have an emergency
plan.
and it's being run by, I think, the chairman of the council, with the fire chief.
I think it's the
and
fire
police
chief.
What about the fire chief?
Okay.
I know if my chicken goes bad, I ain't calling hazmat.
Hold on.
You know what I'm
There's a
saying?
question
All
right
right,
there.
that is another.
Why don't we reinstigate the sustainability committee? It may not be able to deal with like big things like contracts, but we may be able to do education about composting, what to do with when the power goes out. CM Dart is great for dealing with animals. We can integrate them somehow.
I'm just trying to bring up these things just to get some.
That's what I
After this,
call
we'll get into the fund numbers
sustainability.
next meeting.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Enforcement is just right now, and this goes into the contract question, because I know the next thing was to deal with the RFP, is enforcement. There's a couple different things. The Board of Health is already doing the hollow regulations. You're gonna have a contract of however the program comes up, if you're using bags or people, and making sure everybody is following. If you have your carts, did the landlord pay how many units, I don't know. She says she hasn't been out there. How many units is in the assessor's list?
So you're looking for like a dumpster diver or something? Somebody?
No, it's just in the contract we normally say is like if you're doing bags, a portion of it is bags, then it's just like we want to make sure there's a camera.
Guy with a badge, things like that.
Well, I think they're going around now to make sure people are not
We have
overflowing.
that, yeah.
You got the right to remain silent, not the ability.
All right, continue.
Food waste that is getting more and more popular is outside. So all the things that you have in your house, your plants to your coffee grinds and things like that. Yes, we do composting, but there's a lot more going on private haulers in town, and I think you probably already have maybe one or two. I think probably Black Earth is already in town. That's some residents might be, or some of the businesses.
I know.
They were in Sturbridge, so I'm expecting that you have some that are already over here of city
No,
compost or
I
something.
throw my food waste in the garbage. That's where I put it.
Mhm.
So. I know that they
Those
have
two.
compost bins you can buy.
Compost bins.
Yep. Just know that there is more that are that we have on a state level. So a lot of these also questions come in. We have waste bans in place that certain items cannot be put in the trash.
Yep.
We just, as of November 1st, of course, said no more mattresses, no
Yeah.
more textiles. The food waste went to a half a ton, so that doesn't impact a person household, but some of the residential facilities, some of the a school for things have gotten closer. If they generate a half a ton a week of food waste, then they need to start composting. So when you have a vendor that's already coming in town because he's already doing the supermarkets, so there is already a company coming through, that just be aware that food waste is around. I don't think we're looking at it to get into this contract, but it could be something at the drop-off. It could be for special events. If you had a food truck event, you might want to make sure that food waste is being recycled. Some of the farmers markets you want to put the food waste in there. So hazardous waste, you guys have been having this into your contract for years. The recommendation since May of 2022 was to remove it from this existing contract to bring it lower so that you would actually have it wouldn't be tied, because when you tie into a contract then they add more cost to it. If you have a separate contract, you can work with other towns or do your own event. We had at one point the Southbridge was even visiting not only Charlton but also North Brookfield to just talk about that we'd have a region one in Spencer that was going to be for hazardous materials. So that could be other options, because now we have to plan for it. If you're not going to include it in this contract, residents still have hazardous materials. So we can't just say, okay, we took it out of the contract, we don't have to worry about it. There is going to be a cost. There is going to be a bill somewhere.
Well, we have a hazardous waste day,
Currently,
So we
under
have-
this new contract
and
for
if we have a
2024,
transfer station, we're going to want to continue.
in most cases, you
in that
don't
case,
take
how are
that.
you gonna fund it then?
Right.
Because that's a special fee, and that goes to special places, and it's a lot more costly than traditional, drop-off.
So one of the things that is new is we are now doing door-to-door hazardous waste collections. So what you would do is it's kind of with the DPW that the truck comes and parks. They just did this in Warren, that the truck is parked at the DPW, and then they have little trucks that just go out. People register beforehand. They called and said, I need to do this. So they pick one day and maybe or this week and say, I'm going to be here. And they line up everybody and they just go bring it back to the DPW, fill up the truck, and then they're gone. So it's not like a lineup like an event. That is a possibility. Reuse. We are promoting reuse on a bigger scale on a state level. Who in town, you had a great list of things that you think that some towns are really going city planning to think of who's in town that can use resources. It's the St. Vincent de Paul, it's the Salvation Army, it's the Goodwill Savers, and to who collaborates with them. We've been trying to talk with communities if they want to sign up with one vendor. So an example is we have 2 companies that have been going around and picking up clothing and then little household items as well. So if you have a microwave or if you have a lamp post or a lamp, they'll just pick that up for free. It's just here's the number, call, and it's a contract.
Right.
So it's that kind of planning. But who? That's the question. Is that maybe the senior center? I don't know, because a lot of people are moving and
Right
downsizing.
now, Casella does it, but they really are going through, what is it, St. Vinny de Paul?
Oh, they might be, but we also, the Center of Hope also has a couple of facilities where they do that kind of thing.
Yep.
And they might be somebody who'd be willing to do something like that.
And note that, and that maybe that can be a connection. St. Vincent de Paul, I found out, is actually part of a bigger organization, and they now have a big presence now in Central Mass and Northborough, and they can pretty much take everything. So they can take bikes, they can take car seats, they can take things that we can't normally
Put it
deal
all
with.
in the kitchen down at the senior center.
But they just come and they take it, or they do pick up at the house. That's what they do. Is they do pick up.
All
I
right.
don't get mad, I get even. So
I think
that's
some of this
beautiful.
though is a little bit beyond what we're gonna be able to do.
Yes.
But it's fine to listen, I'm fine hearing this.
Right. So just sludge. I just wanted the thing is you brought it up of. I think in the I don't know what is doing for your water and sewer. Do you have already a contract? It's not tied into Casella's contract, is it?
For what's that now?
Your sludge.
We don't have sludge.
You don't have.
Well, at the
The
water
sewer
department.
plant does.
Sewer
Yeah.
plant does.
Is that connected to the current Casella contract?
I don't believe so.
No,
I don't
they
deal with sewer, just water.
I know. I just think
Yeah.
that should be asked out because give you the example, Fitchburg has a contract with Waste Management that operates the landfill.
You talking about leachate?
Yeah.
No, we don't do it.
Okay. I just
No,
want to make
and
sure that's
they're-
not connected because we had a big discussion of you don't always know what's in the
Veolia that runs the
contract.
sewer department is responsible for their own sludge hauling as part of the town
I think
contract.
so, yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want to know. It's like who.
And since the landfill's
Yeah.
closed, hold on, the landfill's closed, there'll be no more sludge. In theory.
Well, no, that's a different thing though. The sewer plant has its own composting
Right, that's
site.
true, yeah.
Where they do it on site and they sell
sell
it.
it.
Yeah, I have
They
this
give it
here.
away to
Is that what you're
citizens.
looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really the next thing. I'm
Okay.
just
Sell it.
doing the high scale before I come lower.
Daniel, you all set?
I am, thank you.
So then the next one is yard waste. So one of the recommendation was that we're changing the yard waste here from where did I see it?
DPW currently.
Seasonal yard waste drop-off should be removed from the contract if the town still recognizes the value. The town should establish its own, so it wouldn't be connected into the contract. So, but do you want? It said curbside leaf and yard waste would still be included 6 times a week, 6 weeks. So in the spring and in the fall. So you'd have your event. So that is being recommended into the contract.
I take mine down to the DPW, that's where I take
Yeah,
it.
we have free drop off at
You
Public
know,
Works.
free drop off.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I think that is part of the current contract.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
I think it
But
is
I
taken
don't
away
use it.
by.
That-
They do leaves a couple times a year.
I don't use it, but.
So that's the thing that's changing, and that's why I want us to understand that is the recommendation from May is that the curbside for 1 to 6 family households stays the same as six in the spring and 6 in the fall, but the drop off would then be not part of the contract. The town could then have their own container or their own location.
I think there's kind of
But-
overlapping there, because they currently do have their own, there's a drop off right now.
Yes, but it's supposed to end in March
No, the
2024.
town does part
No,
of
this
it
is the
too.
town's own bin that they have.
We definitely dispose of some leaves and debris, but
Mhm.
we also decided we needed to cut down the whole forest and stuff in a solar farm. So that,
All right.
put the kibosh on that.
Okay, so then there's 2. There's one at the DPW and in a different location.
There's one
There's
on
another one
the
at the
There's one, Casella has one up there, where they do their hazmat up there, right, Gus?
Okay.
So it's kind of overlapping a little bit there.
Okay, so DPW currently has one, so that
Yeah.
so then that is good. So then you have a contact in that would kind of stay because I'm just afraid that we lose that kind of service. The next one I just want to, and this is kind of the last part, is just the level of service. So you were kind of talking about is current service is 1 to 6 family units. I think you guys already agreed in the last committee to stay at 1 to 6 family units. Municipal buildings, it seems like will stay in the program.
It will,
Schools, buildings will stay in the program.
right.
Senior housing is not included right now.
No.
They're separate.
Yep.
Multifamily, we go up to 1 to 6 family.
I think that the 1 to 6 is dependent on which avenue we choose. Because if it ends up in the taxes, then I think we ought to go back to
1 to 3.
3 plus,
Yeah.
supply their own dumpster, rather than the rest of Southbridge paying for, everybody. If we go at a flat rate, then everybody's paying for their own unit.
True.
Which is, I think, probably we're gonna find it may be the fairest way it is and keep it out of our taxes.
The one thing to be a mind for, and then the Board of Health that say, if you're getting somebody a dumpster, then they don't always pick it up all the time, and you just have the overflow of the dumpster, and you have more problems. And then are they doing the
No,
recycling?
that's for sure.
The likelihood of space for recycling is limited for the 4 to 6 family households in your community. So then those residents will not be having recycling access, which by law we have waistband laws that are required, and you have your own laws. Everybody needs to be recycling. So that might be a hard thing if they don't have the space
I
for
think
it.
it's gonna be the same problem with pay as you throw. If somebody don't pay as you throw, then where's it going?
Right on the street.
There you go, Board of Health. He's about to get busier.
Why the city of Worcester does it, the city of Brockton does it.
Where does the city of
Foster-
Worcester? You're absolutely right.
No, they have found out that we do not
They're not
lose.
gonna pay. If you
Not
put a
lose
flat
money.
rate and the landlord owns it, then we're gonna
Well,
get
the
it.
study has found that people do not do that. That's what the studies have
The
found.
study does not do what?
That people do not just start throwing their trash anywhere. They do. If it's a pay-as-you-throw, they use the pay-as-you-throw.
Yeah.
That's the study.
Let
now,
me-
right?
let
I'm
me
not telling
give
you.
you-
I don't know if it's going to be.
Let
that
me
way.
give you a town of Southbridge, let me give you a town of Southbridge study.
All right.
That study is that we have free trash pickup right now,
Yeah,
and it finds its way into our municipal dumpsters on a regular basis.
it does. Yeah.
So
Where's
that's
this
free.
decided?
Now add a cost to it, and watch how how we fill the dumpster faster.
So then we should be watching the municipal dumpsters if you're just saying that there is an illegal dumping currently going on at the.
I mean, it happens everywhere. It happens in the
School
old,
dumpsters.
it happens in the old dump.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you an example, the old dump by the solar panels.
Yeah.
I mean, we had more bulk pickup than Casella probably does in a month up there because there's no more gate and people can drive up and they dump it on the side of the woods and everywhere else up there.
Yeah, there's
The
a-
problem persists right now is what I'm saying with free pickup. So nobody tell me that as pay as you throw, all of a sudden everybody's gonna get honest. Not gonna happen.
All right, so but most of that is the bulky stuff.
No, it's
household trash.
everything.
It's always the same,
There's,
it's always the same.
Southbridge
problem.
has free,
One at a time, please.
Southbridge has free trash pickup.
Oh, yeah.
What stops somebody, not that this happens, but what stops somebody from Sturbridge going to put their bag in the first trash can they see on trash
They
day
do.
and just
That's what they do.
pop it in?
That's what they
Because they have to pay. So if they don't have to pay and they take their one bag a week and they dump it in somebody else's trash, because we get it for free, tell me that don't happen.
do. Oh,
So,
it does
so
happen.
that was a big problem in Fitchburg, and I had pictures. It was hysterical. They'd go from lamppost to lamppost, 20 bags of trash, lamppost to lamppost, every week of trash. And you're like, how is this possible? So they went to their carts like you guys have,
Yep.
and boom, the people, because they have 6 towns around them that do not have programs. So Sturbridge has a drop-off that people can pay. These 6 towns do not have that. Every resident has to pay $600 no matter what. If you're a senior, if you're a family of 20, it is $600 for a container. And they would just, because it was free trash, go right there. The second we went to the carts, it was done. They dropped 50%. It was just unbelievable because of the carts. People did not want to open the lid and put their bag in.
It's not the case here.
All right, I just wonder if
We got-
we know
But I don't
if
have
we
an
know
answer.
the illegal
I don't
dumping
have an
areas, we
answer.
need to address that.
That's
Well,
right.
we do.
We have,
So-
we've addressed it. We have, what Mike would call divers, and they should be certified because they go through so many recycling bins in a day, and trash bins. So, you can't police everything. There isn't, it isn't gonna happen. But what we can do is pick the best option that makes sure that Southbridge gets paid,
Oh, sure.
number one, and that all of our necessities are met as a homeowner.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's the overall
So
goal.
we have an illegal task force on a state level
You're right.
that has cameras. I mean, you guys can use DEP money. You can just use your own if you want RDP money.
I'll take one of those by my house, because I live near the dump, and it feels like it must be a magnet for illegal dumping now.
I bet it is.
So note that we just
On
had
Pleasant
this.
Street up top.
I was
Oh,
just
I
in a
saw it
town
on the
this
bag,
past
but I was
week,
wondering if it hasn't been.
and we had this discussion that somebody has been told, and They were able to find the address, and it was very obvious. A resident called a company and said, "Take my junk." They said, "I will take your junk back," and they took it. And so the resident felt they paid, they did their right thing, and then they later found that it was illegally dumped in another spot and just thrown, and they just kept on going. So, and it was, they checked it 4 times that it was the same company coming out of Springfield that was doing something.
Yeah.
So sometimes if we can find out who they are, and by putting a camera in, you might be surprised that it's not why most people really want to do the right thing
I have 4.
and want to do the laziest thing. So if they can do it at the curb, why would you put it in your car and take it someplace else? So it kind
I
of
think for me, like personally, I think it's actually
out of
town
town.
Charlton people come right across the border. Oh, hey, this Selfridge's landfill. Bloop, and they keep going.
I think some of them, that's probably true.
All right, well, we're not gonna.
All right, so
say-
but
Yeah, I'm sorry,
that's a
I'm getting
big
off topic.
issue,
No, that's
and I want to keep that in the implementation plan. So thank you for sharing that. The other thing is mixed use. I mean, you have a lot of households that businesses are downstairs and households above. Do they get service? I don't think so. I think they're a dumpster and they're not getting recycling.
What was the question?
The people that have mixed use, that it's
Oh.
business on the
Business.
bottom and then residents on
They
top.
probably have
It's
their
like
own-
mine.
They have their own dumpster.
They
It's called
should,
a drug
they
lab.
should have their recycling.
They should have a recycling bin.
Yes.
With a business downstairs.
Right, right. Let's just say they're missing, some are missing,
Okay.
but they should.
Okay, I just wanted to kind of point that out. So that was just an overview. I can kind of like play around with this, and then we can get more into just like the who, just so you have an overview of for the town of like, okay, who's in charge of this? You know, because sometimes if you put everything in the Board of Health and people move and people leave and COVID, you know, was a lot of craziness, a lot of things just, who's calling for the hazardous waste event?
Right.
You know, because that's going to now to be different. 2024, somebody's now going to have to call because it's not going to be in the contract.
Sure.
The contract right now, I don't know if the committee here, because that's the next one, is the RFP.
I left that in there because in your last meeting, you said you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
In December. So here we are.
Here we
in
are.
December.
And of course, I have been talking with the town administrator and Anna, and I want to make sure that you're a part of it as well. We have a December 15th meeting that's going to really be talking about contracts. So I have Mike actually came to a state meeting, and now I'm going to have a regional meeting. I have 75 communities. I have about 5 that are looking at their contracts, and we have Western Mass, about 4 communities that are looking at their contracts. So we're just going to like work together for 6 meetings and discuss their contracts in depth. And hey, you going out to bid. What do you want to make sure? There's just some languages there that is good to add in. My,
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that per Anna, her statement about the RFP is specifically verbatim here. The town manager and Anna Smith have drafted language for an RFP based on templates from Chelmsford and Auburn's recent contracts. They are finalizing the draft, meaning they, Anna and the town manager, that can be received by town council and the town attorney.
That's good enough.
yeah.
Um,
And so there's just the changes that are from last time and this time is what is in May, that 22 that I kind of said is you're still going to go with your part that you guys already agreed on in the first meeting. You're still going to go with recycling carts. You still have the households 1 to 6. You still are conforming the containers for automated pickup. That there's going to be town buildings, school trash, town building trash. The one thing I didn't have in there was on public buildings, not public, public trash. Does DPW pick up the public receptacles? And then maybe they bring it back to a location?
I think Casella.
Correct.
Casella does.
Okay, so I don't know if that is listed out. That's why there's some things that we.
They do DPW does some, like the fields
Mhm.
and whatnot, so it's mixed again, you know, half and half. There is a truck to go around and does some of the town fields and athletic rec department, stuff like that.
And that's why I was kind of thinking if you had special events and things like that, you want an extra bin, you know, sometimes that's also on the contract, and I don't know if we officially added that in there, like.
I know previously we have just simply called up Casella to do the special events.
Right, because you had a nice big
Yes.
contract.
Right.
That contract is ending,
Oh, I
and
know,
so
I
now
know.
we're
I
having an
understand that's what
in-depth
we do.
contract.
I know.
So this one is, and now you have to pay for every little detail.
I get it.
So we want to make sure,
Is it-
maybe we can space it apart that public trash bins maybe should be the DPW. If they're already collecting 5 of them, maybe the other 10, or some places get removed. You know, because if they're not providing recycling, all bins should have a trash and recycling next to them.
Most of them, yeah.
If they don't, then maybe that location doesn't need it. It needs to be moved down so it can have one for trash and recycling.
Okay.
The other thing that was just removed is bulky has been removed, and so that the resident would pay direct fee, and so that goes with. We might want to have discussions if people are unable to pay, that there is, or seniors having issues, people are, if there is some type of subsidizing.
Well, weren't you talking about some grants available?
Yeah, we have the RDP that you guys just got, and then when we go, if you go to a pay-as-you-throw program, then I can give you more money. But that's the startup, you know.
Yeah, and then you're on the hook when we run out.
Yeah, I know.
And then there
We're
is,
gonna have to pay one way or the other.
We are gonna have to pay, but I'd rather be upfront than,
yeah.
than hide it with a grant until it
No,
runs out.
No, we're not gonna hide it. I'm a conservative
I
type of
don't mind
person.
grants. I like grants.
Irene, would
Yeah.
it be possible to have it with all of the other towns that are in the process of looking for contracts? Would it make sense to consider combining contracts so that we're all working on the same page and thereby reducing the costs?
So this meeting, December 15th, is too far. Logistically, we're not in the same little area. I have done that with. I did a multi-year Princeton, Hubbardston, Templeton contract. We got the best contract, and I really want to give myself a big pat on the back. It's just amazement that everything lined up. I had 28 people agree on a contract. I had, we had past town meeting, we had everything passed, and that was the ice storm that took everybody out, and Princeton actually was done for 3 months. And that was the day that their town administrator had a heart attack. So it was just, the contract didn't go through. It's just one of those things that timing did not work. But it's very hard to do a multi-town contract. It really, besides those communities getting the perfect storm, perfect contract, and then perfect storm to diet, I don't recommend it. Okay. I already kind of said this before. Your yard waste, you're gonna keep the curbside, but we're changing that the contractor, the vendor is not gonna do the drop off yard waste.
You
And
pick up the bags?
Hmm?
You mean the bags? We have now our bags at the curbside.
Yeah.
Or you can drop it off yourself.
So it would be for this contract that it was said is that it's the yard waste is going to be picked up at the curb, probably the paper bags, and then the drop off is not going to be by the vendor; it will be by the DPW.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the hazardous waste will also is going to be removed from the contract to reduce the cost. But then we have to think of something different. Maybe it's not going to be a 4 times a year event. It's maybe just going to be once a year.
Okay. Yeah.
And we almost got to start talking now of what the dates are going to be because they're getting really hard to come up with dates. And then increasing staff for illegal dumping, for the transfer station, that we need to think of extra people. And I'd almost say is we need to also think of the next person to help with the assessor's office.
Or does town need to look into
A billing department.
Right, because that was dropped on the assessor's office when they took over the water department 20 years ago. They were never supposed to be a billing department.
Could that be something to be added to the counselor's discussion?
What committee would that go to? What committee would say that the assessor's office needs a
In
shift?
this instance, we would have to completely create a whole new department. That would be challenging.
Jim
Keep
Duff?
it going, yeah.
And that would be a whole bunch of budget issues, and I am sure half of the council was coming.
But if you have money and you already have a thing and you're saying it is being done, it's just going to be moved over here, and then we'll have extra money
Right.
to help,
Water
and
and
then we can
sewer
have a flat
Water and
fee
sewer's already
that's
funded.
working.
This would be an additional funding source to create this.
Maybe.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the funding necessary to hire the people to do it. And all the, all the insurance and all the benefits, all of this stuff that always ends up coming down the pipe.
But you already have it in place, so it's just you're adding one more person
Just adding
into
a
the
person,
billing. But did she say, what was the other thing, that the fire department? No, wait, is that the airport? Is that what she said?
Yeah, I don't know
Well,
what,
somehow,
I
airport
assume-
billing's going through that office.
I don't
but
know
yeah,
what
that's-
She means the the rental fees for the hangars.
Yeah, because the airport's its own entity.
Tie-downs and stuff like that.
The airport's on its own.
Yeah.
We're taught, because I'm on the airport commission too,
Yep.
we totally, we function ourselves.
Yep.
No one pay, we make our own money.
Yeah, you supply your own.
The only, we don't have anything to do with the diner, that's the town side.
Yep,
Yeah.
But the airport makes its own money, that's through hangars, that's through fuel,
yep, the
we're
panels.
bringing people in,
Yep.
we have,
Is that an enterprise fund? Are you saying it's still part of town government, or is it not?
Yeah.
it's part of town government, but we pay the town manager with the money that we bring in. In other words, the town.
Yeah, that's called an enterprise fund.
Right, okay.
They
So
fund
that's just a
themselves.
funding mechanism, so when you have your town government budget, you just have the in money, the out money, and they never look at each other. When you have an enterprise fund, this is the revenue that came in, this is the expenses, this is the town administrator's time in and their
Yeah.
benefits, this is the board of health time in and their benefits, this is the assessor's time in. So you can break out every detail, so it's on one piece of paper, that program. So you have that for the airport, you have that for the water department, the sewer department. I think what we're discussing is it would be very nice to have one for the enterprise fund
Right,
for the trash.
Right.
Now, is it possible that the airport billing could possibly get another two people, one person from the assessor's office and a new person to
Well,
that's I think that's what we're talking about.
that is out of my league.
Yeah, it's out of all of our leagues.
I mean, I couldn't
Does that,
even
right?
begin to tell you that.
No,
I mean,
it's
I don't
all
even think
the
the
map.
airport manager could tell you that. That would
Okay.
have to go to a town manager or even,
Yeah, we would
Somewhere else.
have to create a.
So I think that's a discussion because she just said we can't do the billing and he's
Right.
definitely for the billing and we need to be able to have a billing mechanism.
Right.
And how are we going to do that if we don't have a billing department?
We'll have to talk to Karen and Michael about
A short time, I don't know if there's a town that can do external billing. You know, it's just you hire another company to do
Yeah,
it.
every company, they are
Yeah.
municipality, so they do that.
Well, I'm sure there are, but-
Yeah.
It's costly.
I just, I mean, just to at least try it and see how that would.
Right.
Depending on the methodology we go with, if it ends up being a flat fee, then really, once they set it up, it's not a lot of work there. Because it'll be a flat fee that just hits at the
Quarterly.
bottom of that quarterly bill. It's not a lot of effort. It's not like reading a water bill, processing a water chart, you know what I mean? It's a very different animal. So it might not be that big of a load once it's set up,
all right.
depending on what we go with.
Right.
But I still think would make sense to combine the billing for all of the various departments in one place.
That'd be a
And get it all
conversation
done
for
at once.
Well, those places.
So who can ask that
like,
question?
already know
That's what
the
I'm
amount of
saying, is
units.
who's
They
gonna
already
talk to
have
the town
information.
manager about it?
I'll talk to Michael and
You can
Karen
talk to
about it
him.
and see what we can.
I'll hit him up too, talk to him,
Yeah.
and maybe the next meeting we'll get him and Karen to the.
Okay, and so then that was also the discussion about adding an enterprise fund. So there's two different questions. You need a new billing department and you need an enterprise fund. Or it's nice to have it. You don't need to have it. It's a nice to have, but if we know the mechanisms to have an enterprise
Yeah,
fund.
that's all depending on what the residents wanna go with.
Right.
So we're gonna have to
Next
wrap this up because
We're
I
done.
know there's another meeting in about 15 minutes or so. So
Jeez.
is everybody okay with our next meeting date, January 5th or the 12th?
I can't do the 5th.
Yeah,
Okay,
can't
how
do the
about-
fifth either.
How about the 12th?
Yeah.
Would that be good?
Yeah.
12th, same time?
Mm-hmm.
January 12th, 4 p.m.
Thank you. Sorry if I talked longer, but
So at the next meeting, what are you gonna wanna talk about? So
we
that
want
I
to get
know-
into some fun numbers. And I'm
Fun
kind of
numbers.
hoping we can get into. We can play around of what the number would be of 2 million and just have.
Can't do that.
I know, but just to have a discussion of what the.
No, I mean, I can't be here the 12th. I work 3 jobs.
Oh my
I may be a
goodness.
senior, but I work 3 jobs. and I don't get out until now on the second one after I leave the senior center. So,
Well, we
Can we
could,
do it a little later?
we could do it later if you want, I don't have a problem with it. If
Kath, does
that-
later work for you or not on the 12th?
later every day works,
6 PM?
except on the days that they don't have
Why?
school. Because I work over at Trinity.
I can do 6 PM too.
That would be much better for
I
me.
thought everybody would
On
want
a
to come in
Thursday
early.
night. I mean, I hate to put everybody
No,
out,
no,
so
leaving
really.
late.
I do like 6 PM.
That's fine.
I'm fine.
6.
You okay? 6 PM then. On January 12th, and we're gonna talk about the fund numbers. Do you want me to invite the town manager and Karen
Yes,
to
we
talk
need,
about?
we need to know about billing because that has a huge impact of, and what those kinds of costs would be, even if we just say, we're gonna hire a company for the next
Well, at that
6
point-
months or a year.
Yeah, I know.
At that point, he should have numbers for Wheelabrator or wherever he was, Millbury.
He
was trying
did
to get
ask,
quotes.
did you get an email on that?
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
said that we could not get into that contract and that they're full. So there is no Wheelabrator option, so you can't get into until 2027 to get into that contract to be bid as that bid. But at the present time, they're at capacity, so they can't even add another tonnage. So the only way to get really your material go that way is other vendors like LaBeouf, like Casella, like Waste Management, like whatever company you have, they have contracts with
Yep.
Harvey, they have contracts with Wheelabrator, they have contracts, they shipping things on rail right now to Ohio and Georgia.
All right.
So there's lots of,
All right, is
Casella
everybody
just bought
set then?
into
Yep.
Connecticut. They just bought Willimantic Waste.
this is
daughter-
another hauling company.
Well, yeah, I know. They just, yeah, Casella bought them. Because my daughter texted me, they didn't pick up our trash today, and it's because they don't have all their eggs in one basket yet.
I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
motion.
Second. All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.